We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it! My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
It's time to buckle up for making sense of the madness.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and space is hard. Earlier today, I did a broadcast where I read from David Icke's new book, The Roadmap. And in that broadcast, we covered things like the possibility of aliens, of course, the quote-unquote reptilians, and the secret space program, if you will. Now, throughout that broadcast, obviously, I put my skepticism at the forefront. And a lot of that is because of the public nature of space technology globally and how difficult it seems to be, how much it seems to fail. And one of the things that for me is always paradoxical is you'll have people who will question, say, the moon landing. They'll look at the Apollo missions, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of the talking points there, I understand. My talking points are somewhat different. It's in relation to the distance that they tell us the moon is from the Earth and the technology that they say is taking us there, and that is rocket-based technology. I would be much more open if it had been replicated by other nation states or entities, but we haven't seen anywhere near that, right? So today we're going to look at this story of the Japanese space station. I'm going to mispronounce it, but it starts with a T. When I read it, hopefully, I think it's Tiangong. But that's about 250 miles up in the air. It is 400 kilometers if you're out there in the metric market. And they just sent up their capsule that was supposed to take these people down, and apparently it got hit by some space debris. Now, look, I think that there is a multitude of different types of quote-unquote secret space programs. But a lot of that has to do with the weaponization of space. If, in fact, we have gone much farther than we've talked about, it would have to be a completely and totally separate technology other than rocket technology. That then would also be a different type of propulsion system, more than likely. And propulsion systems are also weapon systems. Okay? I do think that we have a very narrow window into what all this is and what it exactly means. I know that there's the crowd out there that also just believes that space isn't even real, right? I don't know how much of that is actually bot activity. but certainly the quote-unquote flat Earth movement has taken that idea to a massive level where just everything is totally and completely fake. Now, I don't believe that either. These production facilities exist. I know that there are a lot of people also out there that will point to some of the propaganda tools that were utilized to fool enemy spy satellites or spy planes, because, again, Russia was the first with the satellite, by basically having dummy, instead of all these tanks, they were, either laid down or they were blow-up toys, right? They were fake. And I think that we have faked a ton of stuff. There is certainly, for instance, some questionable footage when it comes to some of the nuclear test footage that we've seen. Now, does that mean that all of it's fake? Not in my opinion. Does that make everything suspect? Sure. And I want people to come at everything with a skeptical mind. That being said, we also are going to talk a little Musk or nuts, because we now have the name of the new spy satellite program that is not, quote-unquote, DARPA and Blackjack. And SpaceX actually just broke a record for the amount of launches in a year. I think it was 90. Their 94th launch just took place, and that is a record. Why is this happening? Well, it's because we're weaponizing space. And we're weaponizing space not just in a manner of, say, directed energy weapons or quote-unquote space lasers. Remember, we showed you that 1984 DOD document where it was very, very apparent that both the Russians and us had weapons in space. And the aerospace capabilities were extremely similar. Remember, we're on a joint project with them, with the ISS, even though that's to be decommissioned in the next 5 years. So what other type of weapon systems are we talking about if we're not talking about those? Well, in essence, not only communication systems, but I think systems that are going to manipulate our very environment, right? Via radio waves, magnetic waves, the type of thing that was actually discussed by Michio Kushi in that very revelatory 1984 The New Human Race lecture. I mean, Kushi really laid that one down. Again, a must-watch. If you have not seen that, go watch the raw footage if you don't want to watch my breakdown of it. But again, some really important things talked about in that broadcast. So we're going to get into where China is in reality. We're going to get into the Musk or do, SpaceX, this new spy satellite program that Musk basically was contracted all the way back in 2021. But again, you have these launches now going on for much longer, not just via Starlink, which really has a DoD backdoor anyway, but to the classified versions of that via Blackjack, and now this new system that has been built by, I would assume, SpaceX, but we're going to see. So, thumbs it up, subscribe, share. We're going to talk about this Chinese delay, because we had that big delay on the ISS, and Don Pettit looked pretty banged up when he came back to Earth. You know, we played that video here. For those that don't think these people are re-entering the atmosphere or having their bodies beat down, I would really suggest that they watch those re-entry videos. Again, for me, like today, we read supposed eyewitness accounts that David Icke cited of somebody who was in the secret space program. I can read confessions all day. I always have to take them with a grain of salt, no matter what is said, unless I have some kind of corroborating physical evidence, okay? And the physical evidence that I saw of these astronauts coming back in and being extremely physically banged up, that holds weight with me. Folks, I need your support before we get started. $5, $10, $15. It does mean the world to me. Keeps this broadcast moving and grooving. Big donors, I want to thank you as well. Without you guys, I would not be able to do this. So big donors, there's also a PayPal down there if you want to use something other than the Buy Me a Coffee. We really do appreciate you. I want to thank marigoldresources.com for supporting the broadcast. Buying or selling a business? Maybe you want to check out marigoldresources.com. My man McGreevy will take care of you. He also has one of the best independent media outlets around here in the Quad Cities where I am from these days. Man, 5 years in Iowa already. He's got this piece on G. Gordon Liddy. You can go check out at rcreader.com. But if you wanted a print version, you can actually make that happen and support independent journalism that way as well. And you can give me a follow on X or not. That's up to you. We lost followers today. I like to show the count. If you're not watching on a phone and maybe a desktop, you can see the count go down every time I ask you to follow me. So don't follow me. And maybe we'll get another result. Chinese astronauts still stuck in orbit after space junk hits their ride. Now, one of the things that's been discussed is that there's supposedly a ton of this space junk up there. All I'm going to say is from the videos that I've seen from the ISS in particular, and, right now, we'll put this on in the background. This is the Chinese space station that we've been talking about, this footage. You never do actually seem to see it, right? And that's not knocking it, and I'm not saying that you should be able to see all of it, but you seem to have a clear distance into the Earth. I am one of those people that thinks that space is certainly more than just a vacuum, that you're talking about layers upon layers of not only things like the Van Allen belts, right, and these radioactive protections, but probably a lot of things that we simply do not understand. At the same time, I think that these guys are really up there. Now, could they fake this footage, this type of stuff? Again, at the same time, I've seen very convincing evidence that they have faked at least some of the footage on the ISS. At the same time, hold on one second, we're going to come right back. At the same time, I actually bought a second copy of this, believe it or not, for no reason today because I saw it, because it was so cheap. It was actually $1.99, just like this. 50 years of exploration. I've seen plenty of evidence on this 5 DVD set that convinces me that no, rockets, for instance, they're actually real, guys. They're making rockets. They're going up with them. They're not just landing them nowhere. There are space stations. Again, that's up to you on what you believe. But that is certainly what I believe, and I think it's very difficult. So, space rescue services needed for 2 stranded astronauts in incidents are massive wake-up call, expert says. Now, China, of course, I wanted to go to the China, like I said, Tianyang space station. They're saying they're preparing to bring them home. I would imagine that China's going to give a good spin on this, even though the United States spin on their rescue mission was kind of crazy, especially when you got into the left-right politics of that somehow, which seemed totally and completely ludicrous. But this is actually a really great breakdown of how difficult even space travel, again, at 250 miles. 250 miles. Remember, they're telling you the moon is 238,000 miles away. 238,000. Not 250, 238,000 miles away. Sometimes more. There's reason to be skeptical. Now, Musk has been trashing the transportation secretary, Sean Duffy. Sean is trying to kill NASA, he posted on X. The person responsible for America's space program can't have a two-digit IQ. Musk also took a swipe at Duffy's status as a world champion lumberjack speed climber. Should someone whose biggest claim to fame is climbing trees be running America's space program? Look, Duffy's made some outrageous statements and claims, right? Let's make that utterly clear. Utterly clear. Like he said, yeah, we're going to build nuclear facilities on the moon. Absolutely ludicrous. But Musk also makes crazy claims. He just rolls them back when it serves his purpose. This SpaceX business is real. In fact, we're going to show you some of the manufacturing in this video from August with Musk talking about space travel. That is both cartoonish. It's a mix. It's a blend. It's cartoon. He's wearing a Nuke Mars shirt. If you've ever seen me talk about Mars, I mean, I just don't think there's any way in hell that especially rocket technology is going to take human beings to Mars. Not anytime soon. Ever. Ever. I mean, Mars is like a totally different animal. I just want to put that out there. Florida annual launch record broken with late night Starlink flight. Now, like I said, Starlink is the civilian version of the classified spy satellites, right? And they used to be the Blackjack program, right? It's the military satellite swarm, just like Elon Musk's Starlink. You don't say. Codename Blackjack. Now, this article is from 2020. By 2021, okay, they had already signed this deal with the Muskerdoo, and Wall Street Journal reported on. We're going to read a little bit about this. It's the Starshield satellites, and we got somebody that's saying it's emitting an unusual signal. You don't say. Oh, really? The classified space satellites are emitting something odd? I'm shocked. I'm shocked and amazed. An amateur astronomer monitoring satellites as a hobby has discovered a strange signal being emitted by SpaceX's classified network on satellites known as Starshield. In 2021, Elon Musk's space firm, SpaceX, signed a $1.8 billion classified contract with an unknown U.S. government agency. See, the Edward Teller stuff, the real black ops stuff, the Area 51s, this is the type of stuff they're really doing. The Lockheed Martin stuff, the Raytheon stuff. And we can only really, see, that's what we can do, is only really imagine how far they've gone. And I know some people's imagination reached down to, the things we talked about in Ike's book, but I still remain skeptical. At the same time, I think that this is ultra alarming and more people should know about this. Okay? In 2024, Reuters reported that the contract SpaceX signed is with the National Reconnaissance Office, the NRO, the government agency responsible for managing spy satellites. According to sources who spoke to the news agency, Musk's firm is creating a network of hundreds of satellites that can operate as a swarm in low Earth orbit, capable of imaging the Earth below. The NRO is developing the most capable, diverse, and resilient space-based intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance system the world has ever seen. The NRO said in a statement seen by Reuters. The specific capabilities of the satellite networks are unknown, with both SpaceX and the NRO declining to comment on the specifics of the project. However, a source told Reuters that no one can hide from the system's reach. You think so? Remember we were talking about different magnetic ranges, different frequency ranges? Yeah, that's the type of technology we're talking about here. Cut to amateur satellite tracker Scott Tilley, tracking satellites from his home in British Columbia. Tilley was working on one of his projects when he accidentally began a search of radio frequencies, which are usually not used by satellites to send data back to Earth. It was just a clumsy move at the keyboard, Tilley told NPR. I was resetting some stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at the wrong antenna, the wrong band. There, in the 2025-210 megahertz range, where there should be nothing but silence, he found a spacecraft emitting a signal back down to Earth. Comparing his observation to those from amateur satellite trackers around the world, he found the culprit. Bang! Up came an unusual identification that I wasn't expecting at all. Starshield. Oh! Good old Starshield. How about that? Again, this is the type of technology that is being used. Now, what is it doing? What kind of communications? What kind of effect does it have on the planet? Right? Those are the real questions. It is unusual to see satellites emitting this range for a good reason. The band is not allowed for sending data down from satellites to Earth, but it is reserved for uplinking to satellites. Strong wideband S-band emissions have been detected from satellite associated with the Starshield constellation. These emissions, started with the 2025-2110 megahertz band, allocated internationally for Earth to space and space to space links, exhibit Doppler characteristics and power levels consistent with direct space-to-Earth transmissions, Tilley explained in a paper detailing these observations. In plain terms, this band is reserved primarily for uplinks, Earth to space, and to a limited extent, space-to-space crosslinks between authorized spacecraft. There is no provision in the ITU regulations for space-to-Earth download transmissions within that band, he added. All right? So he says over 193 of these satellites have already been cataloged. All right? So look, what's the data they're sending? We don't know. What are the specifications? We don't know, but we know it exists. So I want to cut to this right here. This is Musk over at SpaceX talking it up, not giving a what, okay? And we're only going to do it like a few minutes of this because, there's a couple things he says here I want to break down really quickly.
Let's start people off like high level, like why are we here? What the hell are we doing here?
Well, I don't know about everybody, but I'm here to try to build into the future that I imagined and dreamed of as a child, where starships with people are out among the stars exploring the universe.
Yeah, so the why, it's always important to explain the why of things. And the why of Starship is that we want to be a multi-planet species to extend consciousness beyond Earth, I think for two main reasons. One is to ensure the long-term survival and prosperity of life as we know it in consciousness, which if we are a multi-planet species and ultimately a multi-stellar species out there among the stars, the probability of survival is much, much longer. That's kind of the, defensive aspect or life insurance for life collectively. But then there also need to be things that are inspiring and exciting and that give you reason to live. Life cannot just be about solving one tragic problem after another. There must be also reasons to get up in the morning and be excited about the future. And a future where we are a spacefaring civilization is infinitely more exciting than one where we are not.
So let me just stop right there. With his first argument that we somehow have to leave this planet if we want to survive, that we'll be destroyed as a species eventually on this planet. I don't know how much that holds water, but if it's true, then rocket technology would not be the one they're focusing on to do so. So I think he's being deceptive there. However, I think there's a revelation of truth in that, in the aspect that he talks about people needing to get up in the morning, needing to be inspired. And so many people need to find inspiration outside of their world and need to be led with that inspiration. I also think, again, the curiosity of man and our ability to harness technology is just an incredible one. But again, those technologies, they are double-edged swords. And man, in many ways, is a, how do I say this? Not only an imperfect creature, but a fallen creature where there's a certain predator class out there that doesn't just want a transhuman world. I mean, they want what I would call a post-human world. Let's just go to the facility because they actually go inside the facility. I wanted to show people this because, again, I don't think they're doing this for show. They're launching spy satellites.
And we're doing it all pretty unique location. I mean, the pad's behind us. We got rocket on the tower. We got another tower with it. We're sitting inside Star Factory. And I mean, it wasn't like this for very long. This is all pretty brand new.
Yeah, I think we moved Starship here in about the early part of 2019. So we've been coming that entire time and seeing the site evolve from a double wide trailer and a tent where we built Starhopper to the first suborbital test flights. And now we have behind us 2 towers for the first time as we build towards the first operational flight from the second tower at the end of this year. And this beautiful building, 1,000,000 square feet, where we're able to work towards a production line of Starships.
Yeah, the SpaceX team has done an incredible job of building out really the most advanced rocket manufacturing facility that has ever existed. This is far beyond any rocket fabrication facility that has ever been built. This is essentially alien level technology, and it was all built here basically down by the Rio Grande River and close to the beach.
And there's that terminology. Alien level technology. No, it's our technology, and honestly, it's just what you're showing us. I think there's actually more incredible technology, but this is the stuff that's being mass manufactured and put into the public arena. It is still built by man, since it is still faulty. It will still explode sometimes. It's very volatile, and that's why I think that we need to be skeptical of this talk of the moon, Mars, and beyond. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Even if you commented via the live stream, we really do appreciate you. Live Bermas Brigade. Give us a comment down below as well. If you enjoy this stuff, and again, a lot of this stuff, I don't know where you're seeing it anywhere else. I get it. I'm a niche channel. There isn't a ton of subscribers, a ton of views. But if you appreciate me, $5, $10, $15, it really does mean the world to me. Big donors, thank you so much. Couldn't do it without you. We've got the PayPal link down below. And as always, you know, we didn't talk about in this. We didn't talk about the right or the left or conservatives or liberals or any of that Johnny nonsense. No, this is about technology. This is about reality. This is about the future of the planet. This is about discernment in many ways, because it's not about left or right. It's always about right and wrong. I absolutely love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you all on the flip side.